To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sogata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With supreme signs, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, Right, Sangha, to all 3 ever devout homage. To war worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms, atoms in all aspects. With supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foul faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Page 15 for the Heart Sutra. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time, the Bhagavan was dwelling on massive Ulchan mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perfection. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Abhigachavara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Abhigachavara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Abhigachavara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is emptiness. Yes, it's form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. The same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. No form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance and no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Sharaputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell on the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times so manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment and reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as the truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Tayata Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisoha. Sharaputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. And the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you've indicated. Even the Talikas rejoice. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharadavadaputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety, along with a world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Page 25 for the mandala. Sashi koke sushe me to tram re robling sini again party. Sanke jing du make te wagi drokun nam dak jing la cho parsho. Jetsun lama dampa ke nam ki choku kala kense chendrigne. Jeta sampe doje zin mala. Zapke choke chapa baptu so eram guru ratna mandala kam niryatayami. Jancho de chodam la jancho paru reine kapsu chi dagi chinyenge paiso namki jola pencha sange drupa sho. Sange chodan soge chodam la jancho paru reine kapsu chi dagi chinyenge paiso namki jola pencha sange drupa sho. Sange chodan soge chodam la jancho paru reine kapsu chi dagi chinyenge paiso namki jola pencha sange drupa sho.
Gangi Denjun de Vajon, Wamewa, Gemewa, Chewamewa, Tamewa, Wamewa, Domewa, Tadeti Mentation, Tewani Geneva, Gova, Sanje Manaji, Tambate, Chate, Chadon, Polibi, Jundonga, Sama Sanji, Dongola, Panjaka, Tumba Jere, Zema, Chate, Pandit, Marumbo, Dakicheva, Benediction. Garden Jimego, on the Goson to Jim, so. Oh, that was a Gulong from Shara Gulong de Tata Nando Zindani Hadi. Suzuki didn't do my Barwa. Suzuki Cutting Jingy Teddy, Pomani, Simji. Tamje Lea, Nipemba to Yak Chiduni. Zindadi Ningi, US, and Mekuna Guno, Shimbangi, and Gulong, which is Simbash. Some of the Osra.
First, we cultivate the correct motivation for listening to the class, that we will not listen to the class just for oneself, but for the sentient beings who have been kind to one, like the parents of this life, all living beings, in that respect. Listening solely for their benefit, cultivating an altruistic attitude, listen to the teaching.
아예 다 가고 공로 그러면서 인데게 지 가서래 국업 드링 취해 국업인데 shum한테 이게 와서 뭐 인천 가고 공부했어
Rejoicing that again we have the opportunity to listen to the Dharma, rejoice in that fortune.
아야 다 먼저 단다 주시디 추름이 라바세드레로 남바게 남베추 왜니 지 냠렌시야 그림바 망고 쉬어져 송제로 디에스 둘나 대전 숨나라 두루고 레스로 냠렌시야 그림바디 다 냠렌라데 가르스 남베추디 조디 가르라나 네 말한조 심 마시와디 시와치베 탑람다 심 시와디 야게로야 탑람 어떤데 질라다 낭베 추스리오레스와 안데 바 대전 delta 쉬어지 망보요레 이나네다 주 두유나 대전 숨와 주름질라와 딩질라와 셔럽질라와 시제 안데 대전 숨난 두다 단단한 주름질라와 세디난 조시디 쉐리오레스와
Yes, we are looking at the practice of ethics. And if we look at Buddha Dharma in general, the practice of it particularly, there are many steps and stages which are very deep. Well, really, the practice of Buddha Dharma is concerned with pacifying or subduing a mind that's unpacified, and then laterally cultivating good states of mind, increasing good quality states of mind. And in that context, there are many levels and stages of that, but we can condense them down into three: the practice or training in ethics, concentration, and wisdom, the first of which we are looking at, training in ethics.
주름 코로나 가르스나 뭐버디 수에 셈바스로 미딘초 수에 셈바 수마들와 안데 당도 락베 온데 체와 심 락바 줘더비 온데 체나 소다그 주림스로 심 참모 디베는 찬선지 돈바 마그 돈바 세드니 용거래 자 소다그 주림들라 대는 차라던 장감 먹고 제가는 미기 주분 그 주림스 기증도 미기와 주봉야 미기와 주 수에 셈바와 어딜래야다 수에 셈바시데 먼저 로바다 안한저 밀 틱독자 시기미스 소제기미스 고모고기미스 야 롱임치기미스 이제 캘린시와 캘린시오나시 네심송제 된데 여들 추림스 요로 다데조 수수 송겹치고 따라와 수수 송겹치야 답람 동의모야 그 답람 아니 묘그모야 그 답람 원에서는 야고 쉬우지 임버래 단단하라서 점물링 나라야다 묘그도야 창마 수림면이 중딩 요견야래서와
So if we look at ethics by entity or definition, it is guarding one's mind against faulty states or states which lack harmony, and there are gross and subtle levels of doing that. The gross level is by following the vows of individual liberation, and the subtle levels of guarding the mind are connected with the Bodhisattva and Tantric vows. This first level of guarding the mind from gross infraction with individual vows of individual liberation, we looked at in the context, or one class of it was abstaining from the 10 non-virtues and then guarding the mind by keeping the 10 virtues. So in that sense, you have to guard your mind from faulty behavior, such as making the resolve, I won't speak harshly, I will not kill another living creature, I won't steal, and so forth. So you guard the mind in that regard. It's kind of like you pledge or promise to do it. And this is a tablam, or a method by which the mind, because we said that the entity of ethics was to guard and protect the mind, and this is a method for doing so, in the sense that the mind is guarded, suffering becomes less, trouble becomes less. In fact, if we look at all the problems in the world that are occurring at the moment, that's all due to lack of ethics, isn't it?
어디지? 따드네. 소다 돈바딜라 소타르스기도 소타르스기. 수dim이 숨니 수수 동일레 타르바스 그래요. 소타르스. 수수 타르바스.
All right, so vows of individual liberation with regards to oneself, the fact that you're liberating yourself.
따데 소다 리게스로 소다 리티 장가제드 직시나 리를 따드네면 십진 타워데네. 지메소소지 타와다 아니 진도요와 아니 지야 타 쳐봐도 좀 좀 제초고요 말해봐. 계산디 다 장전지 소다 리게디 그래 이미지마 장전지 랍시아나로.
Now, individual liberation has 8 types or 8 classes of vows. It's, one can know those by enumeration, but it is only if you're intent on taking the ordination of a monk or nun that you would go through the specifics of the vows kind of on a fine detail level, but it's good for us to list them in general.
동고딜라 니네라 기워서치라.
Yeah, so page 49, if you have the text, the first one is the one-day lay devotee.
근데 개념 파마니시라.
And then the layman and the laywoman, 2.
근데 기주 파마니시라.
Then the novice, monk, and nun, another class set of 2.
네, gelom마시라.
Then the 6th is the probationary nun.
gelom 파마니시라.
And then finally, the fully ordained, or the bhikshu and the bhikshuni, a monk and nun fully ordained.
어다드네 니네라 제와다 개념 파마니디 침베도 뭐라라.
Yeah, so there's one day lay devotees, and that first set of 2 of layman and laywoman, they are for the non-ordained, or like the lay.
아니 기주 파마니 gelom마세디 gelom다 기주 마제로 기주마 아니드네 gelom말이야 도갈라발이야 믹스에 롭존 치고야지 요를 돈바송이야지 어딜라 gelom마스고라.
Yeah, and progressing from novice nun before they become fully ordained, they also have to train as probationary. So they have that number 6, gelopma.
근데 네 gelom 파마니스 와.
Yeah, and then the last class of the fully ordained, isn't it?
어디게 소다 리게 요사데라 아니 추지기 온치네 유 네데다 유우다 데 가서래 라로 유 마임바지고래라.
So it's in the independence of the enumeration of this kind of set of 8 in the context of practicing Dharma that we can differentiate between a central land and a barren land or a barbarian land.
그래서
그래서 geloppa gitsul dan gelong.
어제 가서는 gelom gizu ma de ne gilong ma la ya la ta sungja ma go yo che de la ya de je semba juria lel haw yin sirwa pome gi den de semba juria lel haw yo yin zang ne tembu chi yo re sirwa pudi den de semba de tezi pome den le juria de temba yo so shi zang chemba de chewa da wa lu den kirwa zo pudu zo ina ya ko tongbo lobjong rawa ina shen gale lo le tsin ya des ka bu da
Yeah, could
chik sin san pe gyurung bu de da pomo zo ya jogo shio ji shen jogo shio ji je ro da tin tin de yin sa re de
because from the step of novice nun to fully ordained nun, there is that probationary nun stage because they have to go through kind of like getting used to the vows before they become fully ordained. And it has to do with the way the learning takes place. Like often with males, they're slower to learn something, but once they learn it, we're talking about the mental basis here in the body. Once they learn it, it's more stable. Whereas for the nuns in the female body, they learn it quicker, but commensurately, they can forget it quicker as well. So there's a difference there in the learning method.
ta nu je la de shen na kele je jina ta je shi da ha go re
So if you say that to Westerners, Ishla says, you have to watch out. You have to analyze.
ju ju dan da ha go re jina za
Ah, now,
Oh,
you
no.
check in your exams, Ishla says.
zo
Oh, that's right.
Long enough for an exam.
I think Phil, I think they're just lazy.
nga be tha ti kombal lo ma de ani kombal logic de ra ani kombal ani zo be ti de ra ko be dring chini yawo de yawo sin jo ra dring changwa lo yawo sin de na sani labda la yawo min do de chewa do de do
When I was a year in the nunnery, I would teach them, help them memorize things, and they'd memorize them, but the next day they'd forgotten.
ma wo de
A lot.
de che do
There's a difference.
tona jong de
There's a difference in that.
Chino ta je shi da
You check yourself, you'll see.
Then no need to argue, just joke. You check, then you understand.
Sunny young jazz, Sunny the
No. I think there's no need to talk much. Oh yeah. That's other than that, the Genye Pamani, the Bongsunjang Ashtua. Yene la Jeva, Genye Pamani. Yene la Jeva, the teachers of Jongamba, Sunja Jigbarwa. Inea, any Nimachi Tajin. The teachers of Jodan Yene la Jeva Dore, Inea. Niene la Jeva de Chibe Meshes. Get so long lencho. Teaching Sujon Dombadi in a young Mistu in a lencho yorwa. Cavadi or measure. Teaching Sujon Dan Yine la Jeva de Sunja Chikbarwa.
Yeah, so one day lay devotees keep 8 vows. And then, when you take the teaching Sojong, they're similar to that. But, the monks and nuns can take those as well, those one day Mahayana vows.
Again, ye Pamani de Jibar Sunja Jibar, Zawa Shije, Tivan Changje.
When we look at the lay vows of the layman and the laywoman, there are those 4 roots, and the 5 is made up with abstinence from alcohol.
다 지내 기주당 개론당 글로마가 돈바도서 침박에 암전은 말 수수 즉 다와다 아니지야 타치 네 이제요 타치나 로정 체조고 뭐지 네 수수 이제매와 타마시나 로정 체조고요 말 암저 퇴초고 말도 들어
Now, the vows that make up the novice monk and nun for lay people, unless they've decided to be ordained and they have faith, they shouldn't really know them. But if they've made the strong decision to be ordained and they have faith, then it's okay to know them.
지금지 암저 거쳐 따셔고 말 로정
Apart
체조
from that, they should not really even hear or study it.
어떤 주된 나와듯이 근데 다 니가 띵인생이 나와라
Well, we're going straight on to Tingazingilapar, page 5. It's the training in special meditative concentration, or here it says stabilization. 53 page.
다 띵인생이 나와서야 돼 먼저 띵인생이 나야 돼다 대중은 신의 와
Yeah,
다디베 로존치야 개점보래 가서는 말아서 변한서 곰자를 까보다와 곰자를 까보래 아니 딩상하다 누절이야 천자든데 즉 천자 쇼든데 곰 천자 쇼든데 다르대로
yeah,
아니 지 가서 그래 미게 다야 되는데로 인사했다 표적 되버러블 듄 체타제 아니 표적 되버더 듄이 망보지 셰샤도 아니 그 랑가로 어디 조조로 된 줄 싫어
yeah.
그래서 단단 곰 망보지 곰 잘라도 아니 배 가가 되지 배디 지로서 지금 상당하지 돼
Lego, yeah.
틴데로 지 장장가로 미망보지 곰 잡스도 틴데지 간라 삼람산 코드도 다디 배트거나 메시지 배 논요래로 배트거나 곰게 다 전달 주는 마신이 배드 와다 노르제 다 간다 다 가서 록주도래 다 록외 추도 싫어
Yeah, look, which it is. Now, this training in single-pointed concentration or meditative stabilization is very important for us, sometimes called calm abiding or shamatha. We should study it. And it is because Westerners like to meditate. But what's happened in a modern sense is that Westerners have gotten some strange ideas about meditation. Some people think that meditation means just to think nothing, to stay quiet and think zero. And in that sense, they contrive all these types of meditation to suit their desires. They make them up. And this is like making a path crooked. In reality, you know, that they think that that is meditation, but it is a mistaken message. Meditation is not, in fact, that. It is a sign that they don't know meditation, and this is mistaken dharma when you kind of contrive and make up all sorts of meditation.
곰들라 디즈니 용어로
Yeah,
조금단 조금 지나다 곰 내게 야단 민다다 만만고 여가나네 다 수두는 조금단 조금이나 조금서도 신내기 나는 두 조금서도 항동 나는 두고 열었어
really, for meditation, there are 2 types. And although we can list many different types or names of meditation, essentially there are 2. The first is placement meditation, and the second is analytical meditation or insight. So the first one is shamatha, second one vipassana.
그나다 심체직 외차디 델라딘데 송도 하다데 아니 학외 라오 숨리는 띵인생이 라와니스라도 심 게베 미고 카론라 메와 제직도 내와 델라 띵인지 시그레스 예 송도 디베 내가 침모레 심 지다다 미고디 치르델라 샤 우글레 샤조고레 로라 샤조고레 웨라 샤조고레 메도 샤조고레 하와이나 미고 띵 심체직과 델라 미고 샤사지 구고요 다간다 와 zero member che angi chi go ching ni ya chi go da kan da zero go na ani de bu kran zero ra go ra chi go pe sha sa chi go 다 샤자 망고지 예외 나네 까들 이 자오름 챙기 심 개외미 워 샤송도 개외미 뭐 감지 내가 담보거나 그 심이 샤송거나 개외가나 샤나 띵이지 님들로 수수 심나 딜리고 가서 그래 지 가와다 대와다 아니 선암사야 계속 쉬워래 다 우간을 미네 심도 템포 차거들래 쇼지 대와 가와요 요 말해 근데 제 왜로 좀 미대나 심도 템포 차거래 나 가와 대와 요 되게 요 말해 다 개외 미과지를 미라 개외 미과데 미온데 심 개와스니 되게 되고 가래 대와로 아니 띵이지 두배 쇼라 수수심나 가나다 또나다 기나데 내용구요다 그래서 디네가 전부 쇼지 차거라
Now, as it says here in page 53, what is single-pointed concentration? The mind's abiding one-pointedly without distraction on any virtuous object is called meditative stabilization. It's this important point that His Holiness has highlighted. Virtuous object. So it's not focusing on nothing. It has something as its reference point, be it a flower, breath, light, whatever. The mind needs a reference point. If you focus on zero, you'll get zero. So His Holiness highlights that it should be a virtuous object. So if the mind is focused on an object of virtue, then the mind that's concentrating, doing that subjective work, will have joy and merit. And if you just focus on breath, you get stability. If you just focus on, for example, light, you get stability. But if you focus on an object of virtue, then the mind that's focusing delights and has joy.
답변나가나서 인데라고라 개외미가 직전배 꿀미야로 지전좀마다 진짜 잠배한 딘델밍난디고라
Yeah.
아니 개와도 또 가르치는다 대행아 내가 단지가 군론제바 대행에 진단이야디나 심지신의 편법바시 체지도 인스 내가 심지신의 편법바시 체지도 게 대행에 내가 체지 지기 요새 심디 가도 있는 대강을 샤데비나 다른 거다 제 아니 다른 님들 쓰나라 바나지 용거래 도나지 용거래 밀라 편도 지역이 로덥치리기 와래 심바 밀라 편도 그 삼로 유세베 주고 먼저 밀라 너버제 삼링 말아
Yeah.
하나 하나지 망고지 그 산산은 왜 당하는 거네 밀라 너버제 거래 산산은 수수 공부연이로 지금 미 바로로 너버제 거래 너버제에서도 틱 두자든데 시험을 수수 깨져 시다 내가 치다 근데 온게 바로 맞기서도 늦게라 그래서 대전 단다 신변게 심디간라 아니 이제 심샤제 대도이나
마용 뭐라
아니 심마용 버샤나 다 나라 해 요아 리바 다 나라
Now that sense of the mind focusing on an object of virtue and delight and having delight and joy, one can use as one's focal object a statue of Shakyamuni Buddha or Tara as a focal object that is virtuous. But we have also said, like at the beginning of the class, that we motivated with a benefiting intention to solely benefit others. And if your motivation behind doing your single-pointed concentration has that carries on to be that virtue, that you have a joy and a taste to help others, just the thought to benefit them in mind. And once you have that, then the adverse notion of harming others cannot come. The thought to harm cannot come. Now, oftentimes we harm others even though we don't harm them directly with our speech, but it's the way we talk, our tone, or the way we look. But if you have really cultivated a sincere beneficial intention, then that cannot be. Your focal object then is joy.
어야다 어디 내려와 잖아 배나 나라도 내려와다 가요 지도 내가 집에 가도 곰자던 그런 셰비너로
Yeah,
저는 사실 곰게 그인스도 내가 상을 샤제야 지 조조로시 돼야 좀 거기 열어 나 근데 두주 연하다 야고라고 배우는 두주 단제배 근데 좀 시내로 고미야 배전 튕기 상 고미야게 배전 시기는 야 야고라
yeah,
이런 많지 내가 치고 오라 간 내가 지에도 고라요 공부 탑랑나 주체야 배는 가서 저랑도 같이 칼라스고 있는 와 예, 칼라디 지금 오늘 신부직서로 와 약고직 미 필요하게 류리야 편바로 와 좋아 지와 한다베 니 야베데 간주만 주세요 야 줍자도 저도 가서 오라다 집에 밀레 편베 꾸는지 오네 네 DSM데 당시면 안에 칼라지 소대기에나 다가라이 곰차 되기로 하디데 하디 제 조금 숭지 소리지래요 와 제조 숭지 소리지와 세상에 유나 아니 칼라디 서셰비 님도래 주스 심데에 다다와 간만네 안데 군론디에 직신베 군론디에 칼라디 야고차 인바 따딘데 지간에 칼라서는 칼라 야고차 인바로 칼라디 야고차 신부리 야고차나 미가 외용으로 미가 외용나 아니 수수가 외용으로 제가 어디래 다 데모 제단 내가 가리네 뭐 직패 태우서 지금 많이 받치지
okay.
펜베 굴론 사만 남다지 간 피베이나 아니 간래가 제와디 빼샤가 치디 많이 받다 민기 치디 많이 받다 직 태우서로 좀 많이 받치지 펜바 바시 치디 제베이나 네가 내가 대가나 심내지 제베이나 내가 대 부타보다 요보다 야고 차에 거 되유나 수수의 기부도 알아 대디지 야고 중송서 미가를 나나 맞나 수수심나 기부르지도 하고 뭐 디다 계속 뭐 쉬어래 사실 곰 잡라데 내가 상을 자제
Yeah,
그래서
yeah, yeah.
디 노래
Okay, in the context of working here in the Dharma Center, for example, or in meditating in that regard, learning about it, some people might think it's good if I kind of drop everything and leave work and go and meditate. Well, in one sense, if you have the conditions to do so, it's good. Conducive conditions to try and cultivate calm abiding, shamatha, that's good. But for us, we're busy and oftentimes we can't. So the trick here is to carry the attitude of meditation into your work. Induce it, carry it in. So that means if you have to make food, then you think when you're making food for others, I will make the food delicious to sustain their bodies. And when you're cooking, you induce that altruistic motivation. So it becomes a meditation. And then if you're in the present moment while you're cooking, right there, you have the union of the two types of meditation, don't you? Because you found it analytical, but you're also right in the moment. So you're single pointed. And in that sense, the results are good because the food will come out good, it'll be delicious. And if they like it, you can delight in their liking your cooking. So what's being said is that the actions you do, like in the Dharma Center, they're not separate from meditation. It is, but particularly if the mind has the motivation of pure beneficial intention and is not sullied by financial thoughts, name, or praise, solely to benefit others. If one has that motivation, then the happiness will come whether they praise you or not, whether they say it or not. So what's being said is meditation doesn't mean leaving everything and going somewhere.
어딘데다 심 시내세야지 니 톱스나나 아니 탑람 다 제일 통으로 이 페이지 심내에 탑을 되네서 아니 믹서디 개외 믹버지 강라 조드비야 대야 아니 루신자 심신자 데베스 베 딩인지 쓰고요 다디 심 템포지 메 개외지 강라 심샤지 되나 알아서 지 콘도서래 되자서래 타도서래 마제서래 그래서 내가 계세요 말이야 와 이면은 아니 심는 시와요라 먼저 디기세야지도 해피니스라 디기라데 지 콘도메가 셰다메와 마제메와 타도메와 스트레스메와 론리네스메와 디프레션메와 네가들라 해피니스 요르다 직 메와 차베 네가들 아니 직 요르다 요지 요르메 다 먼저 디바 메와 마세우지 아니 먼저 지 컴피티션 타도 가는 도고래 마제 가는 도고요래 장진지 가는 도고요래 아니 이나야 말라 디기지 중요한 산데 디기데 대세 사자요 말 디기 강제 어디 차대라고 뭐 상담단데 디기디 요새 사자 매우 쓰이자 당데
So if we can cultivate calm abiding proper through these 9 stages, and here our mind is focused on an object of virtue upon which we cultivate physical and mental pliancy, which induces a type of bliss, that is stable, that is single-pointed, then there is no chance for anger, jealousy, desire, hatred, and so forth to be born in the mind at that stage. You know, that cannot come to be. In fact, when we talk about Deki in Tibetan, or this kind of, how would you say, happiness or well-being, physical and mental well-being, what is it? Well, really, physical and mental well-being is when there's an absence of desire, there's an absence of hatred, there's an absence of stress, there's an absence of jealousy. There is no pride and so forth, competitiveness. So it's an absence of all of that, when the mind doesn't have those disturbing emotions. But what we do, we follow after competition, we follow the self-cherishing thought, and we think that, oh, I'll seek out and go to a happy place, when in fact we've created an unhappy one.
디기 대세 사자요 말
Yeah, you know, there's no external happy place.
안지 디기
Where is it?
제단단데 디 계세 전부 시월에 주주 나는 식도야 아래 근데 가자 동해 텐데로 얘기야 동해니래 뭐 대화 되지 때문에 란지 대화 따다 좀 먼저 동해 텐데로 열어 이나야 동해 제약이 줄여야다 병원벌 교수들 뱉지냐 그러면서 뱉다 콘도 마제 타도 텐심 란진지 되자시나 되바 첨보 마제 디게 상마 동해 유견냐로 디게는 먼저 배전시로 되게요 아래 동해니는 뭐 디게 동해기 유유에서 배시고 동해 유아인 버렸어 당원에 전에 쉬지다 데려도 먼저 라시 스타그다라
It is the Shantideva says, doesn't he? Although we don't wish to suffer, we rush to create the causes of suffering. And although we wish for happiness, we destroy its causes like an enemy. So, you know, we put so much effort into our desires, into self-interest, into pride and so forth. So although, you know, that those are the very causes of suffering that we race to create, even though we don't wish to suffer.
대화 되냐 팀을 랑이 대화 따다 좀 쓰려 대화 되고 그래서 먼저 이나야 니 팀을 미시 몽배 온게 대외 주카레 대외 주 참바 세와 쇠바 아니 딩인지 셰럽 도즈르바 도즈 방 매버스 참벨로 줘라 란진지 공부요래 좋아 네지 딩인지 주 semba tempo chimbo 자야글로절 영화라 배전 심치고라
Yeah, Ying de.
영화 요외신을 때문다가 돼
Entertainment, yeah.
시에냐도 콘서트는 네네 뭐 누구여라다 네 다 등산 소셜 미디어나 뭐 다 여러다 심이요 뭐 여러 아니 뉴스 페이지 미디어든데 쇼스다 심도 되어라 덴바 쇼레다라
But the correct quote is, although we wish for happiness out of ignorance, we destroy the cause of happiness like an enemy. Then, you know, we wish for well-being. And if we look, okay, so what are the causes for well-being, for happiness? It's loving kindness, a mind that's stable, has single-pointed concentration and wisdom. But instead of cultivating loving kindness, we are fixated on ourselves. We give in to self-cherishing. Instead of cultivating single-pointed concentration, we are distracted by all types of social media, entertainments, and we can't focus our minds. So there are these distractions, discursive thoughts.
딘데스제 다 간다 딘데기 아니 독슬라시나다 셈바템버스기 탑람이 요래와 만이나 단다 언제 신의 직시기도 아니 신의 토와 여러베스나 자타와 요래 단다랑 단대 뒤져들라면서 야가당 배유당 죽당 되는 저 배배게 만차다 타와전야래도 타와당 아니 가시 유는 만차다 타와전야래샤 신의 동조 만차 타와전야래도다 유나라단다 아니민도다
이만남네야가
먼저 원신 바지와
야
그러게 다 신의 더 공제거라 아니 도와다 신의 톱니에들 아니 계지트가도 돼요 그러게 계지트가도 사 라마 직 등산 여러
야
하나 신의 톱 뇽배 미십지다 마토 미십지다 뭐 신의 톱 뇽바라
할래
단다
등산
신의 톱 뇽바
할래 리 카와담산
다람사 두 배유 만자 다람사라 얘기도 와
for Bhutan.
이나야 내 언저대 배외 라마 계셔도서 톱이 돈도다 캡다 지마와 제조 타와이는 제조고 뭐 당할 직톱이 니시 제조고 뭐 그런 거인데 신의 톱 뇽배 미십지다 뭐 투
알레스무스
디나랑 얘기지 팀바니 정말 타워를 했으니 타워래도 정말 내가 아니지
So there is this method for cultivating stability of mind, calm abiding. 100% is the case if we put effort into that. We can do it. In India, Nepal, and Bhutan, there are monks now we know that have obtained this calm abiding. At least most of the ones I've heard of are monks, not nuns. Anyway, I've talked. Here we go. Wait, hasn't finished. I've talked to this particular monk, and he says that, you know, even these days, you know, like contemporarily, 40 practitioners have obtained or are obtaining this shamatha. India, Nepal, Bhutan. And really amongst Tibetan monks, it's not kosher to say you've obtained it. Like it's not for one monk to say that they've got that. But because I asked this monk, he can say that's 40 have. And then I said to him, are they all monks? And he said, yep.
Showing us all the money.
Yeah, there
are probably nuns, but the monk I talked to, he hadn't seen them. But I did ask. I asked sincerely.
그래, 제가 다 시내 맞다. 다 당한저 가르치고는 단다 시내 계시네. 시내 곰네. 스스 또부터에 여러 배라나. 디 여러 있다. 디 계시고.
Yeah,
또
what the point being made is that are there beings at the moment who have gotten to quite high insights with stability of mind, with shamatha? Yes, there are.
제가 먼저 컨트 가시네 시내기 줄라고요. 와.
Yeah,
시내기 규타나 단다 다와 투나가 토그레스 베잖아 송도.
yeah.
사실 다원이나라 톱샤와. 사실 다원이나라 톱샤. 시내 규야고 산대로. 사실 다원이나. 사실 다와 투. 사실 로니. 사실 로송. 어딘데나라 톱디요. 된야래도 하시네.
So as it says in the text, if all the causes and conditions are there, one can attain the karma binding within 6 months. But there are those who, due to conducive causes and conditions, they obtain it in 2 months, some in 6 months, some in 2 years, some in 3 years. It varies.
근데 세상다 시내 네 톱이나 안 당기 시험나지 당도 시내에 가르려서는 다 되게 녀모 되자 시당 공동아제 타도 저 문주어도 내가 다 매우서 시고 와티 내가 그러와
Now, what are the benefits of obtaining such a stable mind of karma binding? That, as we just mentioned, none of the aforementioned mental delusions, like anger, desire, jealousy, pride, none of those can manifest.
다들 저한테 이제 같이 싸워요. 맞아 당연히 저 삼숙도를 제부도인 바로.
Yeah. Some of you here are new in the class, but most of us were at the last term where we went through those 4 concentrations and 4 absorptions, isn't it? Most of us.
아니 디네 다 시내 톱사네. 아니 대외 뉴모 방연데 아니 something seems to top to your
Right. So having obtained karma binding in the context of the desire realm, one abandons the gross delusions of that desire realm and obtains the first dhyani, the first concentration.
다 제단데라 아니 와서 디시기요라 네 뇌지 주의질라다 뇌들라 뇌감 수강 수미 감세로와 아니 주 심지들라 도와리 툭제로와 그래 도와리 툭디 아니 냐와이다 튼도 네 미할 아마이 세제 도와리 툭제로와
Yeah.
다 네네서들라 뇌감 수감 수미 감지 감숨제로와 다 뇌감세데 만주 단다 대용아라 차베 온게다 빅되자시단 콘동나게 문이 규지된 게도 일로 되버서 아 되베 되자 대용아라 차베 착선 매버체 왜 내제지라 아니 수감시 다도 상마 띵이징 또 겨울엔도 와라셔다 그다 신의 탑사로 겨울엔야 상마 띵이징 또 길로게 될라 먼저 동해도 요말 동해도 와 동해도 요말에 그래 동해요 동해 숨나네
Sukamla
수감라 동해 요 말이야. 유르에 동해 요와.
Yod.
아니 자와디지 동해 요와. 안데네 아니 수를 차버라 봤다. 지 카도를 차버 입을 차버 된데 여러 건들 차선 되네 수감스 거라. 안데네 카도다 입을 차버 심데 매매 내가들라는 수미 감 이제 수라고 되게 돼요 말다. 띵이지 이 길로미터 유리 바시미지 지금 수라고 지 매우 인자 수미 감지 감숨시 다 딘데지 시기요라.
Okay, so it is often set forth in terms of like the vessel and then the contents. So the vessel is the container, and then what's contained is the contents. So the container then are the places of the desire, form, and formless realms that make up the world. And then what is contained are the 6 realms, or the 6 types, 6 classes of migrators that are there. And so the contents of the world, the beings, the 6 realms, are the lower realm beings, hells, maybe ghosts and animals, and then the upper realm beings, humans, demigods and gods, making 6. But the place they exist in, as was mentioned, is the desire, form, and formless realm. The first of which, the desire realm, is so called because those beings seek or hanker after the objects of the five senses. They desire them. The form realm are not so focused on those objects of the five senses, but it is they have gotten there due to cultivating a meditative state of calm abiding. And they don't have, of the three types of suffering, they don't have the suffering of suffering in the form realm, but they do have the suffering of change and compounded pervasive suffering. They still have a kind of tendency to fix on color and shape in that form realm. Yeah, so that's why it's called form realm. But going a step further and not fixating on color or shape is the formless realm. And in the third realm, the formless realm, that's entirely a mental state. That is a mental state, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, a
Tinder,
question about the date.
yeah, you can ask now.
There's a lot of mentions to gender.
Gender.
Yeah, which surprises me because I thought, well, when I read through this stuff, normally in Buddhism, it seems like there's a big focus that we're another body, but there's a lot of mentions to gender. So how does that? Like,
Yeah, so
why is that?
right. The question was, I noticed there's a lot of talk of gender, but in Buddhism, I thought that the focus was not on the body. So why is this so?
Yeah, because I thought the focus is more in mind.
Mind, yeah.
Something that less on the body.
Yeah. So Gishla, the pomo ki ko la gender. The morang la chachik la namta ki ko du sem la pomo yo marwada. Ine yang pechi tagi in ye do dompa ki ko la di pomo da yoga chechi berwadi.
Really?
Ine yang chongpo shena sem la pomo im dua. Iptang kata tang porik morik mindua sem. Ne nangpe chue nang so sem ki nyamsu lemba yensang kari chene di niela hodang mo yawa chechu biores.
아니,
Di kran.
이러다 지단 저 수고 두시 전에 부담 보면 열어. 아니 불라다 부고랑게 감담에 와 딤벌 때네 양치 녀몬제야게 리카셰 페나 보물을 제기요 말아. 보물을 양치 제 수고 두시 차다 감담에 외전에 녀몬제야 같이 불을 제기요 말아.
Yeah.
아니 제가 된데 전에 다좀 된데게 팀 속으로다 지금 속으로다
Yeah.
지금 속에 아니 그 표기 지도난 게 지금 논리를 제운데 델라반의 팀 직제로 그래 보면 지도난 논리를 제도 델라 팀 직제인 거라 두스전에 이제 부담 부모의 팀이 온다는데 두스전에 부모라 이 팀들 망아요래 불러 용어요래 와 제가 알아서 늦어 뭐지 좀 된데 찬양민도 부모라 망았어요 불러 용어서야 돼 간스나 좀 내대 제주에 내가 당보 팀 요 말해 당보 아니 타외 지도 차 당보 보모요 말 보모 타와 아니 요 말해라 타와냐래 될라 팀을 개요인데 될라 팀 다디 제조 말 디체조 말 해서 이제 아니 제가 제한 거라 이거는 누구 팀도 지거래 아니 드네 치스다 보모 디 차라 그래서 보모기다 돈발리니 차인데 돈발리니 팀 소라다 저나 로랑가 디즈디 근데 팀 논리를 제운데 디체조 말해서 논리를 제도 디체 아니 보모기 지도 되게 논리 망아 차도 와 요도 망아 중인자 안 건들 팀 망아 차다 두신 중으로 해서 중단 미래미시 부담 보면 여와지게 계속 말했을 때
Yes. In the context of that, it is because sometimes we attribute a female body, sometimes we attribute a male body, and the type of afflictions that arise for males and the type of affliction that arise for females are sometimes different. And the vows that Shakyamuni Buddha made or, set forth, previously there were no vows for practitioners, but because they practiced and contravened what Buddha advised, he had to compose them. So previously the males had less vows that Buddha made than the females, and for Westerners, then they might reflect, oh, Shakyamuni Buddha doesn't have equanimity because he made more vows for females than males. Well, actually, it wasn't really like that, because from the outset, there were no vows. Buddha just had disciples. But when they started to misbehave, well, initially, most of the disciples of Buddha were males. Then they had to make vows for the monks. Like a country makes vows. And then initially, females weren't ordained into Buddha's order, initially. But when they were, through experience, due to observing the mistakes that were made, there had to be more vows because they made more mistakes.
Bena pechaji nge pilela o shawra. Kina zo yenje bena homo langa ganga chiwola chigo dochogo mare. Ani put jewa yomare, put nyanga yomara. Oh, didn't she?
It's like when a nun shouldn't walk along the road alone, but there's no such
chiwo late.
Oh, late, sorry. A nun shouldn't walk along the road late at night, but a monk can. Like that sort of difference, because of security.
Anyway, and she said that most of those vows was not because they made mistakes, was for protection.
Yeah.
Because they, the
Oh, did
women
it?
were preyed upon.
Did it? Protection.
Yes, that's right.
Not that sit next to one.
Did it?
Yes.
Did it? Protection shit.
Yeah, it is. That's right. It's mostly protection.
Like that.
No, but no. No, that's correct. No. Initially, that's how the vows came about. No, I didn't say that. I said initially from the monk. Mare, tango trapa. Ishla. Tango trapa rawa. Tango timio mare. Yeah. Initially for the monks, there were no vows.
Yeah. Really, when I've been a soldier,
Yeah.
Mare,
Same. Geshe saying it's the same.
tango, timio mare.
Yeah.
Don't jump in there, pair.
Yeah.
Is then protection from the outside?
Yeah.
So not from the monks themselves.
Been a what's that?
She's asking that we said the vows are for protection for the woman.
And being loving.
But it's possible.
What's that?
For the protection for the nun, is the protection.
Hello.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
Aniki sumkyop den karichane sinen chapa nyenge insan den sumkyop yores.
Arada tawal nyanga yusan there.
Mare chapa konzo anila maybe dukcha chena.
No,
No, not that.
You can misunderstand.
You completely got it wrong. Basically.
Right, well, historically, at that time, women really under the thumb of men in Germany.
Yeah, because the Rikshung
So
deer
they
cutler.
actually gained a lot of freedom, became ordained.
Yeah, because the Rikshung dan dembe deer cutler pumo den zon yende chitero.
Arema, 좀 된대기 될 여치네요. 지도거나 고모마요. 좀 된대기 직받이 미죠. 여치기요.
Yes, that's right. Buddha saw males and females as equal, but society at that time saw women as inferior.
예. 부모 찍어 도마 제가 로주디 중단 그래서는 근데가 부모지다 칼라롱가 도어와
Hmm.
김 칼라롱가 도어 니 차바탄데 차 치고로 비시 그 곰자서 레면도 랑가를 신나지 도이데 몸바라 예 기다지 아니라 한징들이요
Hmm.
근데 투네 네 부모들라 이 제임스네 네 지고도 맞아 두스름 이제 타베스 좀 말다데
The vow about nuns not going alone late at night wasn't from the danger from monks. Hey, can we finish? It was because, you know, no, wait, let me finish. No, if the nuns go like, going for alms and it's late and it starts to rain and they're in the forest, they could be in a place where there's hunters and the hunters might jump them.
참네 어디네지 지고도 맞아
That is it,
지고도
to
맞아
protect them from that,
이제는와 아니
not monks.
맞아
Like a lot of monks live in a monastery a lot, like they don't leave the monastery. So I was like, if the nuns are also in the monastery there, the
나누리
only people they meet is
나래
children.
나는 열에 나누리인데
They have a nunnery though.
그래서 대설로 가야 돼
They have a different place, right?
님도 대처고 말아 부부 때 보면 돼라 근데 다 제가 저 같이 팀 개는 챙겨요 봐. 팀 개. 배나 소제라 근데 쉬를 당에 소제에서 뺏어서 되니 다 님마 드리는 게 제일 소제 좋고 말해서
Yeah.
제가
So for example, with killing, that wouldn't have been a vow initially, but someone said to Buddha, oh, I killed, and Buddha went, oh dear. From now on, you can no longer kill. That's how the vows came.
두 중요하다.
That's how the vows came to be.
배나 나란서 대도 나란서래 유튜브 여러 뉴질랜드라 아니 뭐말 이제 백신면은 더 좋으면 소여라
Yeah.
데이터도 차 눈으로 백신들은 말 가래 잡는 더 좋은 말래로 이제 뒤주 여러 아니 먼저 디 낙선 잡초고 말했어요 근데 여러 뉴질랜드 미션은 팀게로 그래라 근데로 팀 근데 여러 두서 여러
Like when New Zealand had, there was COVID, and if you didn't have the vaccine, you couldn't do this and that. Or if you didn't wear a mask, you couldn't go here and there. We were supposed to follow the law of New Zealand.
다야 좀 된데 대화도들라 수수 성ገብ치에 지리 괜찮아라고 돼. 근데 이러면서 지금 미에진
Chigi Tim.
저 돈배민의 신뢰 시단 제어라가 신뢰 내외 시도도 딱 방야래서 어디로 왔다.
Yeah.
저 들어.
Lord Buddha made these vows for you to keep and protect yourself, not so that it's something that everyone must do. That's your personal practice.
어디 뒤와야 뭘 뒤고.
That's a good question.
Don't ask like
White clouds.
but he cannot how he explains historically how those things came about. It's very good.
어디로는 뒤다. You
But if
can.
you really want to know, it's in the Vinaya.
Yeah, well, you the 지단 코란에 팁디 차단지 로나야 뭐. the message payment with
Yeah, there's a lot of messages in that book if you want to read it. Oh,
Yeah.
Path White Clouds.
네, 덤바스야디 컨데스 페 메로와 산제스야디 컨데 연구에 싱그라고.
Yeah, like how did the founder, how did the Buddha come? What did he go through? It's all there.
Thank you for that.
예, 보시. 아디네. 당도 마스터 샤.
Seems like we've been cycling on that question since beginning was time. 정말 매번 티오 디코도 그러니.
예.
저야 매번. I said
It is
this, I
reason
said there's no end to it.
we stuck in
We're
some.
stuck on it.
아유. 이래다. 어디세다 이제 심계획 미국 가능라 미에와 제적도 내가 될라 띵인진해야 돼.
Yeah,
그래서 알아서 되게 검접도 지 계획직 간 심샤가 배전치기나 야고요래. 이상선은 검자하시 검접은 깔래카 마지고 차는 것도
yeah.
이 검대 다다 두고 말해.
It is important when we meditate that we focus on something virtuous, because sometimes we put effort into meditation and we get exhausted that's a sign that the meditation hasn't been done properly.
그래서 수수수수 따져셔야 돼. 개좀으로.
Yeah, so this is a personal thing. You have to check what works for oneself.
다디네 라우도 딩이세 그래서 딩이 콤벌라 되네. 삼대단 수미 지무시 톱징스다. 삼대세야 돼. 제가 되베 뉴모 방법들라 삼대 공부니와 숨바체. 아니 소그 뉴모 방법들라 숨메체 삼대단 수미 지무시세야 돼. 되베 뉴모 방법들라 소지무시 소기 뉴모 방법 람델라 수미 지무시 무시세야 돼. 오메기 오메기 뉴모 방법 la ne mushi de la guerra corrojli ashi to dishe guardanirwa.
Yeah. So the text goes on to say, in dependence on cultivating calm abiding, those 4 actual concentrations and the 4 formless meditative absorptions are attained. Jigten. Yeah, got it.
그래서 다 드네 타르라고도 타르데 콤바이스 저거나 삼대이 퍼진디 겨와이스 타르스디다 되베 뉴모바 소그 뉴모바 수메뉴 다디제 뉴모라고 봐 뉴모라고 봐라 다디네 니야 삼디 콤바 타르치네 네지 동반이라서고 미다고라서고 당무슨도 더 윤디 네 지페 뉴모가 자와방베 방바 톱르드 산제 콤바 톱르고 산제 콤바 톱바텔라 아니 삼대기 퍼진스르바 삼대기 퍼르드 침바 다디 고다니 람 곰발라 데네 니 코페 레버 퍼진스르 퍼르드 친 심바 퍼르드 친 심바 어딘데라야 고야 여러데.
All right. So then, what makes the shamatha, the training and meditative stabilization complete, is when it's perfected. So one has gone through the mere kind of more worldly abating of the delusions. But when it goes into transmundane, for example, when it's focused on the lack of intrinsic nature, and when one becomes a Buddha, a fully awakened one, then that quality of concentration is complete. So in that sense, this word perfection or parchin connotes 2 things. One is that it's complete. Well, one is that it's a process that's been undergone. Yeah, you're perfecting.
다데라 뭐고네나 직된베 딩이지다 직된레 데베 딩시도와
Yeah.
직된바다 직된레 데버사데 직된바스나 칼라오 직된세 직된세도 직세 아니 냠베 온게 아니 메우스야요 와 냠베 온게 빠요 데라 직된세 그래 냠베 배는 알아서 다른 건줄류 된시도와 건줄류 된데 직된바 알아서 직된바래 건줄류 된데 아니 람 곰베도 빠요 와 메우스야요 와 아니 데 메버스나 아니 카르고스나 타바토고 여러와 직dinle 데버세데 데 쉐바달람다 데 수부도서
이기시바.
게 님베옹게 빠요 말고
알레오나.
직dinle 데버세데 님베옹게 빠요 말고 게베 야야야 공배도제 산제설이야 도여와 직dinle 데버세다 통람이 이제네 아니 수그라고 요 말에 디규 이규르도 요래 이루 참모든데 요래 두두 참마 녀베도지 빵야다 매우스야 요 말에 매우스야 하고 거야 공배도제 산제설이야 돼야 이게 차 텔레직딜렌 대와차 만줄류된도 저 단단다 두두 참마 녀베옹게 매우스야 요웬산 직딜렌 대와서 직된파스되네 거 직댄스 직스도 매워차가 되는 거라 그래지 거라서나 남고 녀베도비 매우스야요 디직하고는 야고요 만족하시다 르딘디 가디나 지 동해리 용 대어버려서 대어 말해 님병게 먼저 르딘디 빠요래 매우스야요래서
And then the text goes on to say, verse 2, when meditative stabilization is categorized, there are 2 types, mundane and supramundane. Now, looking first at the mundane, what is this word mundane? Jigten, the Tibetan word jigten, means transitory basis. It means that an antidote can be applied to that transitory basis and it can be gotten over from supermundane to mundane. Now, when one has gotten over having to apply an antidote to that state that is under disintegration, then it becomes supermundane. So no more antidote needs to be applied. Where does one go then? One goes then to the state of liberation, and then finally to Buddhahood. So you meditate, you meditate, you meditate, and then you go to the transmundane state. At that stage, from the path of seeing and above, then there's no gross physical body. There's like a mental body. So at that stage, it's super mundane because there's no antidote that needs to be applied to the fact that you're disintegrating in a gross way. But for us, because we're in the mundane, we have to apply an antidote to that notion of disintegration. Again. Oh, sorry, we have to cultivate a path. Lam gom. Lam gom la tene injik tem mebe sukarvas.
Fine.
Yeah, so in dependence on cultivating that path, what's abandoned? The transitory state that we're experiencing.
디 가르치니 가르치는 저 바에 라이나 아니 먼저 디 류딘디 야 용사디 레다 뇨몰디네 총으로
Yeah,
아니 먼저 류 두시디 류지 두시 찍디 젤디네 총으로 제 가르치는 파마가 구다라
yeah,
다 파메 구다당 아니 먼저 셈지도 와 디니 이게 저샤 수차르스나 아니 레용 총으로 레디 뉴몬드네 총으로 제가 뉴몬드 바이오 인자 얘가 뉴몬인가 바이오 인자 아니 그 진짜 제 영어 말 제가 덴버톤에 펜버메스 동반이 무슨 부터는 거저 연결이야 레서도 소요 말해서 뭐라 다디 제가 먼저 또 직배 덴버톤에서 무빈의 중원에 통해야 돼 계정 버려 돼 통나 레서도 소 무빈의 중원에 통선하나 아니 되자제 말에 콘도제 말에 마제제 말에 타도제 말에 드메나 먼저 동해디 영원 과에 민도 하시던데 두스전에 남배겠다 좀 된데랑게 녀에도네 식대버데 먼저로마다 딘데딘데 리샤스체 다 티셰버나 지금은 곰 겹치긴 따다녀 디 용구여 냠냠용의 용구여에서
then the question comes, why do that? Why apply antidotes and try to abandon this body's disintegrating state? Well, the body is disintegrating due to karma and disturbing emotions. We have a body on a substantial level. That's the product of the parent sperm and ova. We have a mind that's also the product of karma and afflictions. So once those afflictions primarily are abandoned and the karma that goes with them, if they're vanquished, then it is said that we see the truth and we can no longer create the karma that causes us to cycle and disintegrate. So seeing the truth means seeing the lack of intrinsic nature of things. Once one sees emptiness or the lack of intrinsic nature of things, no new mental delusions or afflictions are created. There's no desirous attachment, there's no aversion, there's no hatred, there's no jealousy, therefore there's no suffering. And this is something that Shakyamuni Buddha laid out for us through his experience, through his direct experience of what he saw. And he said, this is the way it is. And if you put effort into the path and apply, you will experience this as well.
야, 답이지. 좋아하면 되셔.
Yeah, so there's no further questions. Online question, yep.
Schönes, ja.
Gender-free questions? Gender-free questions, right. Right. So Gisela, if we don't have, should we even try to attain karma binding if we don't have the prerequisites first? Was that it?
Harder to do the prerequisites or attain karma binding. Is it harder to get?
Yeah, no, I understood the second part, but I just thought, yeah.
알았어.
gisla nonzo shinegi gyudan kemena.
알아.
Nene shinegi tobyagi beto chetu grebes. Nene shinedang deko dekiwe gyudan ken dorna. Kaksho kagere. Gyudan gere yangmani shini tobedire.
아니 규든진 되서 카그라면 되서 규딘데 카그라 규진면은 신내도에 요마 신내기 규토기 와면서 규토기 와
Yeah, it's more difficult to get the causes and conditions together. Because if you don't have the prerequisites or the causes and conditions for calm abiding, you can't obtain the result.
제가 그 규진면은 규응은 맛은 되고 가용 그래요.
Yeah, it is the case that, you know, without the cause and condition, no result will come to be. The result, the cause and conditions come before it.
나도 나랑 좀 롭존시에 신내기 규진은 로고를 강고면에 신고로 장고로 대 신내기 규진은 누구요? 스탠드 롭존시에 대로.
Yeah, but I mean, we're actually now, that's the reason we study. We study what are the causes of shamatha, and we come to know them.
딜라 규진 가져 규진 수수 진행원의 검리 두고도나 아니 규디 수수 참고되면 되겠다. 참고면 되나나 아니 이 규디 차이를 배전시 어두스네 시에 아니 신의 검야게 병원에 지 규진 참모 참선은 아니 원에 거라 시리스 지 검시하는 시야 도야냐 거라.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if one really wants to obtain calm abiding, first one has to know what are the prerequisites, what are the causes and conditions. And then, if you're still keen on setting about to do it, you actually put effort into doing it.
Philip, you have a question.
It's about these rounds.
Rounds,
So,
yeah.
say you're getting some achievement of calm abiding, let's say, and realizing lack of intrinsic nature. Does that mean mentally you leaving the desire realm, going to the form realm and then the formless realm? What does that? Are these realms mental realms?
Are they mental?
Yeah, I mean, does one's thought change?
Yeah, so the question was, let's say you accomplish calm abiding, right? And you get
Yeah.
some understanding of the lack of intrinsic nature.
Yeah.
And how does that work in correlation with the three realms? Is that your question?
Yeah, do you move?
Do you move from one to the other in a mental way or physical way? What? Isla shinedrubsane pena tongni tokpelo tes kisirva digi wangla tene kam oma di gang la ha dogarbes pena dekamne sukam ne sumekam karangiti was so di lu tene dogarwe lu mema tene dogarwe lu rak.
알레 때는 데려와 되감 수건 수미 감사야지 감숨 레데르와
Yeah,
이내 단당 만원주 딜러 도단이요레서와 도단 당보디 가래라나 단당 만원주 되베 미래더라
yeah,
만원주 곰잡니 니 되베 뉴모바요레 되베 뉴모바르데 삼디 중시토고요레 아니 스토그 뉴모바르데 수메무시토 되게 똑바디게데 만원주 미 인심에는 인지민지 깨월랭고 말에 디 유엔데디게데 간절라 토베 먼저 녀모디게데 빵로데 디 빵베 뇽 똑바디 간절라 토베요레
just go again. That Tangbudi.
정부디 신고래.
Yeah, Tangbudi love. Right, so that now, in terms of this question, there are two approaches. The first approach is that, okay, so you have the desire, form, and formless realm. And for example, if we meditate in our human bodies, and in terms of that first realm, the desire realm, if we abandon the abandonment of the desire realm, and then we can gain the insights of those abandonments and then traverse to the form realm in our human bodies without having to take another birth. That's the first approach.
다 먼저 딘데 미딜라 수근무시토브라.
Yeah,
유모바 수중무시토. 다 대인라 도고 마토체 도고신다 남신다 마제베체 수근무시토브제 대이나. 미디 시르드 겨와체마데 데발라 마제베체 수금라 겨와렌도 그래 스타디르.
but to give an example, let's say that person has cultivated the insight of that form realm and, you know, wishes to not do any more or stays within that, you know, strong kind of causal absorption. When they die due to that, what they've created in the human realm of that second level, they'll be born in that form realm, not in the human, not in the desire realm.
근데 속 감다 수면 감도 마음차 되래 가서 이기루라고
Yeah.
잖아.
What we would say with regards to these latter two realms of form and formless, they're more mental than physical. They're more like a state of mind.
그래서 대발랑 좀 밤에 구려할 때인데 영문을 보고
Yeah, so for example, they don't have the gross body that's a product of the parent sperm and ova.
띵인생이 또 겨울에도 거라.
Their bodies are attributed by concentration, mental state. Is it clear?
Not clear about when you were reborn.
그런데 pena megi lunang rwa. Shine ko suk me kamla dora di kandisto gales. Thank you.
미 류네 수면 감도 말해. 수면이 똑같아 그러면 되게 수면 감도.
So let's say you get the insights of the formless realm in a human body. The human body doesn't go to the formless realm. The insight, the mind goes there.
네, 뒤에 근데 감을 도고 말해. 똑같이 좀 연된 토고라.
Yeah, that it's not like the mind goes to that realm. It's like the mind has those qualities, those insights. It has become that. Oh, do you see now?
나 제일 갈래갈래 칭이.
Go to okay.
예. 네. 그러나 다들 연 거기 도다
Jiktingi pesha.
도다니 여러
그러나-
배차시나 단다 딘데 여러 미직러와 와 미직라다 송 비즈니스를 요시러 아니 거기 미디님들 비즈니스 잘돼 되이나 그런게 키워드제디 아니 그런 여러 다 찾아 와 아래 그 캡상으로 돼 그런 거 여러 봐 그 비즈니스의 미지다 로가 차스는 아니 캡상도 정말 수술을 여러 수술 쪽으로 찾아 송 배드 제고 잡스는 와 어디 배드 때 따다란 데모스
Yeah,
배나
Richmond, Jonah.
배나 된대로 와 된대 말해 연대 내 직된 배로 샤스는 배나 당보 미디 직결에는 도라 나 배나 배차샤위나로 저 수라 미루 된라야다 연된디제데 차상 토대여로와 아니 말해 배나 아주 미직다 단다 배나 나도이나 단다 뉴질랜드 시티즌 차라다
Yeah,
마이지미지 뉴질랜드 겨울랭 거면도
right.
스밍 위시토가 되어 되나지래
Right. So now I've become a New Zealand citizen, but I don't have to be born in New Zealand. It's like that.
당아 신이 미신다지 신이 자가 미지 신이 뉴질랜드 겨울랭스 나나 아니 그 디임바로 나 신이 겨울랭스 나나 게운디네라 키우차자라 봐
Yeah.
지미지게 시티즌기 캐주디게 상문다고
But if an Indian person dies and is born in New Zealand, they don't have to go for citizenship, do they?
이러
That's a good example.
what's the good
Yeah, because
Isn't
in one sense they've changed body, in another sense they've just gotten the citizenship in the same body.
그냥
Good example.
전화도 찍어라 전화에 찍어라
Too slow.
필리핀에 전화에 찍어라
You're the same because you're not from New Zealand, right? Yeah, you're a migrant,
이나 전화 큐 파스포트여라
but you got a Kiwi passport, right?
Yeah.
제가 디레다
It's like that.
연대 톱대도
You've got the quality of being.
키위 합키비라 진짜 오래되다
without being born there.
아야 아대셔
Not for today.
Okay, page 33 for our, oh no, 30,
81 for our mandala. Saji. Jetso Lama Kutsu Losong Dembe And lead all the things without exception to that enlightened state. May the supreme joy, body, chief others, always in rise and grow. And at our truth and all the nation, praise the Lord. Lord, also the time from. And thank all the children, all of my faults. Rejoicing, praising that you would say. And now dedicate all the full awakening. I dedicate all the deeds of virtue with the dedication praises of this. By the joy of self-form 3 times, that I may perform the noble body such deeds. May the King of darkness and help us way of Dharma practice knowledge. May the endless obstacles be pacified, and all the conditions circumstances be complete. The mountain of the burning hill, so to every single man of the happiness in the world. The living of the kind testing outside the siege. My Lord, your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Save for every soul and teachers and trust the great deeds. The makes the dream the very path of unification and infinite compassion. The Lord does all the done to Gaslight teach. May all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You will uphold the subduers far away, the parents of bountiful bear of all. Sustain the preserving spreading of your victorious doctrine. We must be accomplishing magnificent prayers, honoring the three jewels. Saving of myself and others, your disciples, please look the return. By reminding the two accumulations of myself and others in the 3 times, may the teachings of the conqueror of the and drop our place for a long time. And on the separate sheet, the prayer was for the return of Lama Dadumase. The other speaker and the prayer of the children of Victoria Flowers, and protect the roots. Control the source and fathers, sons, along with the lineage masters. All the refuge of infinite thanks. Please bestow the virtue of goodness, where accomplishment, prayer, and now. The body is representatively teaching. With the practice, now, patience, and courage. What wonderfully was saying of Victoria's teaching. The goal gateway to resolve benefit and happiness emerge. The power of peace, water great loss. Near the world, the ocean of the 3 jewels. And the incarnations with the big glory portion of his disciples.